Oh yeah. So scared of breaking it that you won't let it bend. Now I wrote 200 letters I will never send. Sometimes these cuts are so much deeper than they seem. You'd rather cover up, I'd rather let them bleed. So let me be, I'll set you free. Yeah, I am in misery. There ain't nobody who can comfort me. Oh yeah, why won't you answer me? The silence is slowly killing me. Oh yeah, you really got me bad. You really got me bad. Now I'm gonna get you back. I'm gonna get you back. Salty skin and how it mixes in with mine. The way it feels to be completely intertwined. It's not that I didn't care, it's that I didn't know. It's not what I didn't feel, it's what I didn't show. So let me be, I'll set you free. Yeah, I am in misery. There ain't nobody who can comfort me. Oh yeah, why won't you answer me? The silence is slowly killing me. Oh yeah, girl, you really got me bad. You really got me bad. Now I'm gonna get you back. I'm gonna get you back. You say your faith is breaking, but you may be mistaken. Keep me wide awake and waiting for the sun. I'm desperate and confused, so far away from you. But I'm getting near, I don't care where I have to run. Why do you do what you do to me, yeah? Why won't you answer me, yeah? Why do you do what you do to me, yeah? Why won't you answer me, yeah? I am in misery. There ain't nobody who can comfort me, oh yeah. Why won't you answer me? The silence is slowly killing me, oh yeah. Girl, you really got me bad. You really got me bad. Now I'm gonna get you back. I'm gonna get you back. Girl, you really got me bad. You really got me bad. Now I'm gonna get you back. I'm gonna get you back.
What's up, Old Campbell? How are we today? Love to hear it. Love to hear it. My name is Peter Mildrew, and I have the distinct honor and pleasure of serving as this group's president. We are the Hullabahoos, an a cappella group on Grounds, and we're here today to bring some joy to Grounds. You know, we want to welcome you here. We want to tell you a little bit about ourselves. And to start, I want to bring up the fact of if you've heard our name before, you might recognize us from Pitch Perfect or The Office, or more recently on UVA's social media pages. But that's besides the point, because we're here today to welcome you all to UVA and show you what UVA has to offer in terms of joy. So without further ado, let's get back to the music.
I'm feeling sexy and free, like glitter's raining on me. You're like a shot of pure gold. I think I'm about to explode. I can taste the tension like a cloud of smoke in the air. Now I'm breathing like I'm running 'cause you're taking me there. Don't you know? You spin me out of control. Ooh, 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 ooh. We can do this all night. Damn, this love is skin tight. Baby, come on. Booming like a bass drum, sparking up a rhythm. Baby, come on. Rock my world until the sunlight. Make this dream the best I've ever known. Dirty dancing in the moonlight. Take me down like I'm a domino. No. No. You got me losing my mind. My heart beats out of time. I'm seeing Hollywood stars. You strum me like a guitar. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We can do this all night. Damn, this all is skin tight. Baby, come on. Booming like a bass drum, sparking up a rhythm. Baby, come on. Rock my world until the sunlight. Make this dream the best I've ever known. Dirty dancing in the moonlight. Take me down like I'm a domino. Every second is a highlight. When we touch, don't ever let me go. Dirty dancing in the moonlight. Take me down like I'm a domino. Oh baby, baby, got me feeling so right. Oh baby, baby, dancing in the moonlight. Oh baby, baby, got me feeling so right. Oh baby, baby, dancing in the moonlight. Oh baby, baby, got me feeling so right. Oh baby, baby, dancing in the moonlight. Oh baby, baby, got me feeling so right. Oh baby, baby. Rock my world until the sunlight. Make this dream the best I've ever known. Dirty dancing in the moonlight. Take me down like I'm a domino. Every second is a highlight. When we touch, don't ever let me go. Dirty dancing in the moonlight. Take me down like I'm a domino. Thank you guys so much.
Can we sing it? We're at a family reunion. Can we sing the chorus together? I know we can. Here we go. I hear you. Yeah. No doubt you're feeling good. You dropped them off. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Lauren. Listen, I mean, y'all must feel so good, right? You did the thing, you dropped them off, and I'm sure many of you all are like, do I feel good? You're experiencing all the mixed emotions that I know comes with dropping a son or daughter off. So thank you for celebrating that with me. Thank you so much for coming today. For some of you all, I may not have met everybody at orientation. My name is Tab Enoch. I use she, her pronouns. I'm one of the associate deans of students here at the University of Virginia. And I'm also the university's hype girl, right? Like, y'all know that. Y'all know that. Y'all know that. Y'all know that. So I know, as I said, there's mixed emotions that come with dropping a son or daughter off. As you all know, I told y'all over the summer, my day is tomorrow, right? So I drop my son off tomorrow. So I've got my tissues, and listen, look what else I have. My dark sunglasses for all the tears. So if any of y'all have that, no, I'm prepared for tomorrow. I want to hear when we're out in the foyer area what that was like for you, because I know, again, it's mixed emotions. It's mixed emotions. So the point of today is to introduce you to our president, and also just to remind you that the university is here for you, right? The university is here for you. I mentioned over the summer that UVA is rich. We are rich in terms of the people who are poised and positioned to be a resource to you and your student, not only now, but throughout your time here at the university. I hope that your lived experience so far reflects that. And I also hope that you know how grateful Like, truly grateful we are that you are entrusting your most prized possession with us. We are so thrilled for you to join the UVA family. Okay, so let me get to the business at hand. I got a couple of housekeeping announcements, and then I'm going to get out of the way so that you can meet the person that you came to see today, which is our university president. Regarding the order of the program, after the president offers his comments, he's going to open it up for Q&A. You can text your questions to the president to the number up here on the screen. So if you have a question, please go ahead and text it either now or while he's offering his remarks. When we get to that portion of the program where it's time for Q&A, I've got colleagues in the audience, Alex Hall and Dave Sauerwein. They will be reading the selected questions aloud for the president to answer, or some of his team that's assembled down here in the orchestra pit. The goal will be to try to get to as many questions as we can in the time that we have together today. I also want you to know we are broadcasting this over Zoom, as many of you know, so I want to acknowledge, hey, y'all on Zoom, everybody on Zoom, right? And also let the people on Zoom know that you too can text a question to this number. So if you have a question, don't put it in the chat in Zoom. Please be sure to text the question to that number there. Okay, so with that out of the way, let me tell you a little bit about my friend, Jim Ryan. Many of you know that President Ryan has had an accomplished career and is well known as a respected legal scholar and educator. He's a Yale alumnus. He took his degree from the university's law school in 1992. In 1998, President Ryan joined the law school's faculty after clerking for then United States Chief Justice William Rehnquist. After leaving UVA, he moved to Boston, my hometown, where he served as the Dean of Harvard's Graduate School of Education and was the Charles William Eliot Professor of Education. As you can imagine, in his career, he's won many impressive awards, but two most notable to me are the Outstanding Faculty from the State Council of Higher Education in Virginia, and also he won the All Teaching Award from Harvard. Both of those, in my mind, speak to his commitment as an educator. So that's a little bit about his resume and his accomplishments, which are certainly important, and they serve as an indicator to let y'all know he is highly credentialed, right? So he came to us highly credentialed. I've introduced President Ryan a number of times now, and I always try to separate what he's done from who he is, right? Like what he's done from who he is. I like to separate that because it's the who he is that gets at the heart of who we are here at the University of Virginia. And so who is he? He's a dedicated spouse and father of 4, and he was just telling me backstage that he and Katie dropped off their youngest child in college this year, just a couple weeks ago, and so he too can empathize with all of us of what we might be experiencing as we drop our kids off in the next couple of days. He lives his values, and his character is emblematic of that. As a leader, his actions reflect a set of principles that are grounded in integrity, empathy, and a commitment to the greater good. Integrity, empathy, and a commitment to the greater good. He challenges us to live in the in-between space of that great and good, right? Like the in-between space. He knows that UVA is a great institution. We know that UVA is a great institution, as evidenced by all of the determinants that make institutions great. But it's the good part, right? It's the good part that is the aspiration. It is the good part that inspires us to keep digging a little bit deeper, to reach a little bit higher, even when things get hard here. He's a first-generation college student who works tirelessly to ensure that this place not only feels, but actually is accessible to everyone. He ensures that UVA belongs to all of us. Essentially, as the young people say, he is him, right? He is him. I mean, I really mean that. Like, he's that dude, that guy, right? Like, he's that guy who is doing the best that he can with what he's been gifted, and we at the university are better for it. So if you'd please join me in welcoming our president, Mr. James E. Ryan.
Thank you, Tab, for that incredibly generous introduction. And thanks to the Hullaboos for entertainment. It's going to be all downhill from here, just so you know. Good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to all the families of our new students, whether students just starting out or transferring. And to the parents in the audience, I would like to congratulate you on your child's enrollment at one of the finest universities in the world. Not that I'm biased or anything, but I think you and your children have made an extremely wise choice. And I know how fortunate we are that you've chosen UVA, and I'm thankful for that. Welcoming new students, as you might imagine, and you probably have already seen, is a university-wide effort, and I'd like to thank the teams across Grounds for helping make move-in as smooth as possible and for planning and organizing events like this one. Thanks as well to some of my colleagues who are here, including Vice President for Student Affairs, Kenyon Bonner, Dean of Students, Cedric Rucker, and UVA Police Chief, Tim Longo. So as Tab mentioned, I have something important in common with many of you in the audience. Like all of you who are parents, I know what it's like to drop a child off for the first time at college. My wife Katie and I have 4 kids. The 3 oldest, Will, Sam, and Ben, have graduated from college, and last week, as Tab mentioned earlier, we dropped off our 4th, our daughter Phoebe, for her freshman year of college. That means my wife and I have been through the first-time drop-off 4 times, and I can tell you from my own experience that it hasn't gotten easier because of repetition. If you're anything like me, you're feeling a swirl of emotions: excitement, sadness, hope, anxiety, pride, and perhaps some bewilderment, as in, how did my son or daughter get this old? Or more to the point, how did I get this old? Given that we share this experience, I thought I'd spend a little time this afternoon speaking with you first as a parent and then as a president. Or put differently, I'd like to speak with you as someone who has both paid tuition and spent it. What I'm hoping for Phoebe, which is what I hope for her brothers, is first and foremost that she'll make safe and smart decisions. College is a time to experiment, take risks, fail, and try again. I hoped all of my kids would take reasonable and responsible risks and would make good decisions about their health and safety, about alcohol, about how to spend their time, and about their relationships. I hope my kids would engage in the life of the university inside and outside of the classroom, and that they would get to know some professors. Relatedly, I hope my kids would have the curiosity and courage to build bridges. College campuses today, including the grounds at the University of Virginia, are remarkably diverse places, among the most diverse places in the country. My hope was that my kids would take advantage of the diversity around them and develop friendships and relationships with fellow students whose lives and experiences were different from their own, and that they would realize and celebrate not just their differences, but how much they had in common. I hope my kids would feel uncomfortable at times, and that they would wrestle with ideas that they disagreed with, because I believe this is one of the best ways to grow and learn. Clark Kerr, who was a legendary president of the University of California in the 1950s and 1960s, once said that universities don't exist to make ideas safe for students. They exist to make students safe for ideas. I believe that to be true, and I also believe that college is a perfect opportunity to confront ideas that are different, perhaps radically so, from your own. And in confronting ideas with which they disagreed, I hope my own kids would learn to be generous listeners. Public conversations today are too often strident and lack either empathy or understanding. The conflicts at home and abroad have only sharpened these conversations, which often seem like a game of gotcha or a quick exercise in picking sides. I hope that my kids would try to understand first and to argue second, or to quote Walt Whitman via Ted Lasso, that they would be curious and not judgmental. I also hope that they would recognize that it's possible to disagree with someone even strongly with both civility and respect, and it's possible to become close friends with someone with whom you disagree. I don't know about you, but I still have close college friends that I'm still explaining why they're wrong on just about every issue. Lastly, I hope my kids would find their passion and sense of purpose, something that they absolutely love to do, find compelling, or both. So that's what I hope for my sons and what I also hope for my daughter. You might be wondering, that's great, and it's pretty clear you're still processing dropping off your daughter, but why are you telling us this? The answer is simple. What I hope for my own kids as a parent is exactly what I hope for your kids as their president. As I've said before and will say again, when I see our students, I can't help but see my own kids. And I want nothing less for our students than I do for my own kids. But beyond just hoping for these things, as president, I have the opportunity to work with truly amazing colleagues to help create and sustain an environment where these hopes can be realized by your kids. So first and foremost, we will always work hard, incredibly hard, to make sure that your children are safe and to help them make smart decisions. We obviously can't eliminate all risks, but we are as determined as ever to do everything we can to keep our students and our community safe and to ensure that everyone feels like this place is home and is open and welcoming to all. Now, having a safe environment is crucial but not enough. Our aim is to create with our students the most vibrant experience in higher education, to create an environment that is both exciting and challenging, an environment that is diverse across every imaginable dimension, and an environment where students will be able to create connections not just with one another, but with faculty as well. This year's class is among our most diverse in history. Students come from all over Virginia and all over the country, as well as from 99 other countries and territories. We have more programs than ever that are designed to bring students together, and we will continue to enable and encourage students to reach out beyond the familiar and to strike up friendships with students who come from different backgrounds. Relatedly, we will offer plenty of opportunities for our students to confront ideas with which they disagree. Universities are about the unending search for truth, part of which requires a constant testing of conventional wisdom and accepted truths. This is why free expression and academic freedom are the foundation of universities. But confronting ideas is also critical for learning and growth. One great way to sharpen your own thinking is to wrestle with ideas and views with which you disagree. We will also give students plenty of opportunities to discover their passion and sense of purpose. We do this by offering a remarkable variety of courses and extracurricular activities, and by offering our students an incomparable array of opportunities for self-governance. UVA is one of a very small number of places that give students real responsibility for self-governance. This can be terrifying to administrators at times, but we do this because our goal is to prepare students for a life of leadership. We recognize that our students are young adults, but adults nonetheless. We treat them that way by allowing them meaningful opportunities to govern themselves and also by insisting that they follow an honor code that prohibits lying, cheating, or stealing. For parents in the audience who are alums, I believe they would tell you that the honor code and community of trust were defining and lasting features of their time here, and I hope and expect that will be true for our entering students as well. Last and relatedly, we will also offer students plenty of opportunities to serve others. The original mission of the University of Virginia, as you may know, was to create citizen leaders who would help strengthen what was then a young democracy. Our mission has expanded, as have our admissions policies, thankfully. But the thread of preparing citizen leaders and serving others continues to weave through everything we do. My hope for your kids, for our students, is that they come to appreciate that whatever else they might do, regardless of their chosen profession, whether in the public or private sphere, whether in medicine, government, business, architecture, the military, law, you name it, whatever else they do, they realize that spending at least some time advancing the common good by serving others is a recipe for a meaningful and rewarding life. So at this point, you might be asking, well, how can we help? And that's a great question, and I'm very glad you asked. First, you already have helped by raising outstanding children and entrusting them to us. And I promise we will work every day to earn that trust. Beyond that, there are a few ways you can help. First, please help your children make smart decisions. And to give a concrete example, I'd ask that you encourage them to attend the on-grounds concert at JPJ Arena on Saturday night and the follow-up event at the Aquatic and Fitness Center, which will include free food trucks, games, music, and more. That would be a smart way to start the school year. I also hope that you will assure your children that college will be fun. It'll be hard at times, but it will be fun. But it may be hard at the beginning. I've begun to think that starting college is a little like early parenting. When my wife Katie and I were expecting our first child, and this may have happened to you, everyone told us how magical parenting is and how we would love every minute of it. Then along came our first child, and the first few months, to me, were not exactly magical. They felt a little grueling, and I carried around this dark secret that I was the only new parent who didn't find it magical. Of course, the magic eventually kicked in when our kids turned 20 or 21. And when parenting did become magical, I forgot about those early months and how hard they were. So it is with college. Those of us who love college tell those who are about to begin that you're going to love it. And we forget that we may have had some struggles at the beginning. I certainly did. It's a lot to get used to. For most students, it's the first time they're living away from home. And I remember talking to my son when he started college that it was hard for him to get used to having to leave one building where he slept in order to go to a different building where he would eat. I don't know about your kids, but my sons didn't grow up with their bedrooms in one building and the kitchen in another. All of which is to say, please lend an ear if your children are having a rough patch or two, and assure them that that is completely normal. And also assure them that if they leave themselves open to it, they will eventually see and feel the magic of this place. They should also know along the way and be reminded that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. I also hope you encourage your kids to get to know faculty, who I can assure you are interested in getting to know them. And finally, I hope you encourage your kids to take chances and to risk failure and to continually search here for things that they love. And it is here where my hopes and beliefs as a parent and as a president converge, and where I will end my remarks. There's an old folk saying, maybe you've heard it, the origins of which are obscure, but it goes like this: prepare the child for the road, not the road for the child. As a parent, I've tried to live by that maxim, although it's not always easy. As a president, I view our ultimate task at UVA as helping to prepare your child, your young adult child, for the road ahead, for the exciting, challenging, uncertain, and rewarding road ahead. I am incredibly excited to begin that journey with all of you today. So thank you again for being here. Thank you again for entrusting your children with us, and congratulations. All right, I am now happy to take questions, but I actually can't see any of you because of these lights. Oh, that's better.
You hear?
Oh,
Jim,
what a great
we are on
program.
your left here. up at the top, and we're going to give you your questions.
Oh, okay.
So the first question that's been sent in is a two-parter. First part is, have you ever run an ultra marathon, or would you consider it? And also, how can parents and families best stay involved in their students' college experience?
The first answer is yes, sort of. I ran a 50-mile race in Vermont on my 50th birthday. I will never do that again. As for staying involved, a great source, if you just want to know what's happening around the university, is to subscribe to UVA Today, if you haven't already. There's also a Facebook, I don't know much about social media. There's a Facebook group, I think that's the term for it, for UVA parents. I will confess I've heard mixed things about that. But I would also talk to your student about how engaged they would like you to be. But it's easy enough. I mean, the UVA Today is a great way to just get a sense of what's happening on grounds.
Next question is about second-year housing. When is it coming? Is it required? And how much will it cost?
Soon, yes, and hopefully not too much. So we have a plan to build enough housing to house all second years. That will be probably 3 to 5 years away. We need another 2,300 beds because we still want to allow third and fourth year students, some third and fourth year students, to live on grounds. So we have some construction to do. I will tell you the rationale behind it, and it is that our admissions office does an incredible job of admitting, as I mentioned, a really diverse class. I mean, diverse across all dimensions. And I think one of the best parts of college is learning, for students to learn from each other. But the way the housing works here is, and your students may have already said, there's a pressure, which I would encourage your students to resist, to sign a lease as early as September or October. And so you come to UVA, there's this incredibly diverse group of people. You may have found a roommate before, and you're probably just going to live with the person you're already living with, which means you don't have the full advantage of getting to know people you didn't know at all before you came. And so the idea behind having students live for their first and second year on grounds is that it will alleviate that pressure, give students the opportunity to actually get to know their fellow students before they have to decide where they live. So there is housing for second, third, and fourth year students on grounds. We can't guarantee placement for everyone, but I would say one of the things you can do is advise your students that they really do not need to sign a lease in September. They really do not need to sign a lease in October. They're going to hear this, but it's actually not the case. There is plenty of housing off grounds, and if they would really like to live on grounds, don't do anything until they can submit an application to on-grounds housing. I will say, and I think this is a good problem to have, more and more students are looking to live on grounds in their second, third, and fourth years.
We received a lot of questions about activism on grounds. An example of one is we watched UVA, among many other universities, manage student protests and demonstrations last spring, and we're wondering what the climate on grounds will look like in the coming year. How are you planning for possible future protests, demonstrations, or activism on campus?
Yeah, so we're imagining that as a possibility as well. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world. War in the Middle East, there's an upcoming presidential election. So our approach to protests is, protests are a form of speech, and the university, as a public university, is bound by the Constitution and bound by the First Amendment, which contains the protection of free speech. Speech is also a core principle of an academic institution. At the same time, in order to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to speak and that the university can operate normally, there are rules about time, place, and manner that govern where speech can occur, when, how it can occur, whether there can be amplified sound, and the like. And our approach has been, as long as the students are complying with the time, place, and manner rules, which are really designed to protect everyone and to give everyone an equal opportunity, the protests can continue. But we cannot abide by intentional or persistent violations of those policies. It's a delicate balance. I mean, it is a part of speech and something that we ought to respect, but we also have to enforce rules in a content-neutral way and not pick sides or pick favorites.
Can you talk about an example of a personal failure that in hindsight helped you grow tremendously, perhaps an anecdote that you share with students?
How much time do you have? I've got a lot of examples. I'll give one I talked about recently, and given that the Hullaboos were here. So when I started college, it seemed like everybody and their brother was trying out for an a cappella group. I never sang, not even in the shower. But, you know, you're a freshman and you join things because, you know, the guy sitting next to you at orientation is joining it. And so I tried out, not just for a singing group, but 5 singing groups. So as part of the tryout, of course you have to sing, but you also go to lunch with the group because they're small enough that they want to make sure, you know, you're a decent person. So I wouldn't say this is a complete failure because there's mixed results. I learned from each of the 5 groups that I was pretty good at lunch. But I also found unequivocally by all 5 groups that I cannot sing. So you would think I learned something from that. But what I really learned is I'm a slow learner. And by that, I mean, not a lot of students try out again in their sophomore year. They've matured, they've moved on. I did try out again. I had done nothing in between except hone my lunch skills. And not surprisingly, I got the same result. I mentioned this in a talk I was giving at UVA's College at Wise, which is in Southwest Virginia. And the point I was trying to make, and I think this is appropriate for students in college, is I don't think there's any such thing as a failed experiment. And by that I mean, you hear that phrase all the time, it was a failed experiment. But I think experiments are meant to teach you something. You're supposed to learn something from it. And a failed experiment is really just your hypothesis didn't work out, but you still learned something about it. And I think that that is a good way to frame experiences when you're a college student. This is a place to experiment. And I learned something from that. Like I said, I learned that I really should try to find something other than singing. And I really, if I want a different outcome, should probably do something in between the first time and the second time, both of which have been valuable. But I think if students think of what they're trying as an experiment to find out something about themselves or about the activity or about the class, they're not going to be thinking of it in terms of success or failure. They're going to be thinking of it as learning something, which can be useful.
As a first-gen president, how do you plan to continue supporting first-gen students, especially those who are transfer students?
So our folks in student affairs are doing a great job with first-gen students. There is someone designated to be an advisor to first-generation students. There's also dedicated space on grounds for first-generation students to hang out and meet up with one another. So a lot of the work is done by my colleagues, and I often tell people that I don't actually do any real work. I help people who are doing the work. I think the most important thing I can do is to continue to celebrate the fact that we have first-generation students. That's not the only students to celebrate, but to highlight those students and make sure that they feel welcome and that they're getting the support that they need. And often it's support that other students need as well. But doing our very best, in some ways, to just continually remind them that they belong here and that they can succeed here. So if they were ever doubting it, they know at least that their president believes that they absolutely belong here and can succeed here.
This question, are you ever shocked that you are the president of the University of Virginia?
Every day. It's funny that you asked me that because I was describing to someone how much it is a benefit to be living in a place where I had lived for a long time before becoming president. So my wife, Katie, and I met at law school here, and we were both here from 1989 to 1992. Then we moved back in 1998, and we're here from 1998 to 2013. And I was a professor at the law school. So, and we have 4 kids. So we have a lot of friends, and we were gone for 5 years and then came back. But I came back to a place where I have friends I've known for 2 decades, and there are still people in town. I played rugby in college and law school. There are still old rugby teammates from my time in law school. And I told people, it's a huge advantage to spend time with people who are as surprised as you are that you're the president of the University of Virginia. So yes, I do feel a little shocked, and when I don't, others around me suggest I should feel shocked.
This is the last question that we have time for, President Ryan. What do you consider the most important part of UVA?
The sense of community, honestly, which encompasses a lot. And it's a community that's tied to a particular place. And I do think the place matters. This is one of my favorite spots on grounds. But there is a sense among students, among faculty, and among staff that they are part of a community. And I don't mean that in a small way. And what I mean is there is a sense of responsibility to the community. I think some of this is tied to student self-governance, but some of it is just the culture of the place. And the reason that's important is there are other places, and I've seen them, where the main mindset is, what am I going to get out of this place? Here, you just as often hear from students and faculty and staff, what can I give back to this place? How can I contribute to this place? And I can tell you as a president, but just as a member of the community, that's a remarkable thing. And I think, and the number of students I talk to who say, I want to do something that's going to make UVA even better, is really amazing and inspiring. And I think that, honestly, is the strength of this place. It also means that when you face hard times, and we have COVID, we had a really tragic shooting that I'm sure you've heard of, people come together and they lean on each other. And it makes it a really powerful place to be. So thank you for the questions and welcome again.